Greetings and salutations. You're listening to From a Certain Point Askew, the only Star Wars podcast that ranks higher on the horny scale than the Acolyte. I am Jason, the Angry Ginger Jedi, somewhat or another. I'm in Monkey Poo Studios, Wookie Poo for this podcast, people. I got Matt, Darth Mathias on the line, and we're going to talk wearing no clothes and a helmet. Those are your people.
When did Star Wars get so sexy? I mean, we have certainly had our Slave Leia costumes and our L3 talking about Lando fucking robots. And,
right.
I mean, even shithead Tim got laid in Andor, but this is a different level.
Oh, this is Game of Thrones skin. They got some skin in the game here.
They do.
Man. Did you watch the audio commentary?
No.
You haven't seen that? Like, you can turn on Disney Plus, you can turn, I think...
Oh, you're saying like the closed captioning?
No, it's not the closed captioning. It's like this weird audio thing that tells you what's happening.
Huh.
It's like reading a book, right? And that whole scene is just like, and she looks at his body, and I saw someone post it on Twitter, and I was going to pull it and then put it as like, every once in a while when you were talking, I was just going to play one.
It's like a Danielle Steele novel. Or
yeah. I was like, oh man, I wonder if they did it just for that episode, just for that steaminess.
That is amazing. Yeah, this episode brought the seduced by the dark side line to the next level.
Right.
And I'm here for it. I'm also here for the show. From a certain point askew.com is our website. You can find us on Twitter at FACPApod, and you can email the show, facpapod@gmail.com. Please leave us a voicemail, 678-FACPA-77. That's 678-322-7277. What's in the show, Jay?
Well, I want them to call and let us know where they rate on the horny scale.
Each episode or just for this particular one?
Each episode.
Okay.
Just keep calling back.
Horny meter.
We're going to get some stalker that's just like you can hear in the background.
Oh, gross.
On the show today, besides Matt's disgusted at me, question of the week. What's next for Tasi Lowa? Is that how you say her name? Tasha?
Tasi Lowa, I think it's how you say it.
Tasi Lowa? I mean, I've seen her, once, so forgive me for not having that name down.
No, that's okay.
News. Skeleton Crew names revealed. Ooh, I didn't know this. This is news for me. The Acolyte episode 6, we're going to talk Teach and Corrupt and Maul Bag. One of them. One email in the Maul Bag. Let's go to the question of the week. What you got for me?
So, question of the week. Yes. What's next for Tasi Lowa given the recent demise of her master, Yord?
Well, we're assuming that she knows.
She probably doesn't at this point.
Has word got back to her yet? Did she feel it in the Force?
I don't think so. I don't think they're that connected.
I feel like they're going to tell her and she's going to go, who?
Right, exactly. Or I think she's going to be like, thank God. Will she wander to the dark side, quickly search for a new mentor, or throw a party, perhaps? Star Wars Meg says, they forgot about her and likely won't appear again, LOL.
Yeah.
But she's probably right.
It's feeling like that.
Brown Leader for Hyperspace Hero says Tasi was prepping for her trials while Yord was off hoarding. While looking at the benefit and retirement plans, especially the lackluster horn and dental plan, she decided she could make more credits back home. She resigned, moved back to Zygeria, changed her last name back to Sintel, Tasi Sintel, and works in the family business. You mean the slave trade?
Yeah, who doesn't want to go back to that?
My God.
I mean, Yord, I don't think Yord's that bad.
No, he's definitely not that bad. Nude Gunray, one of my favorite names, says she'll pace up and down inside Yord's empty quarters, mewing disconsolately. Oh my God, I can't say that word. Disconsolately, and occasionally knocking over his stuff like a little kitty cat.
Oh. Okay.
I added the little kitty cat part. Let's see. Adelphi Rangers NRSF says she will attend Coruscant University and get an advanced degree in spaceship design. Her dissertation on the use of small agile craft will be used by the Incom Corporation on their development of the T-65B X-Wing. Ah.
Now, it's people who write shit like that, and I just question, what are they doing with their life, and why are they listening to this show?
Because they know that level of detail,
yeah.
Yet they listen to us talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Fumble over everything.
Yeah.
Well, they like to hear the common man discuss it, I guess.
I mean, it'd be like a grown-ass adult who went through, like, their doctorate and then decided to go sit in a kindergarten class for the fun of it.
Well, or I think about, like, maybe if you were an athlete and then is listening to a sports podcast where neither of them play the sport.
Right.
Like, what the fuck why am I listening to you two idiots? It's probably about right. Max Rebo experience, Tasi sitting in the Vector waiting for Yord to return, saying, I'll give him 20 more minutes, and that's it. And it's the shot from Airplane where the guy gets pulled in at the very beginning. That I love that he's right on par with our references. You know, we keep making these ridiculously old movie references, so kudos to you. I'm Anakin's father says she goes searching for her master Yord, but instead finds Smilo Ren and becomes his acolyte after killing both May and Osha. Now that would be a twist.
Yeah, it would. Like, no one saw that coming. Or maybe she's already there.
She's already in the cave?
Yeah.
Like Osha's going to trip over her litter box and be like,
yes, exactly. or Smilo Ren, as he's being affectionately called here, is like gonna part of her dark force wielding duties is gonna be to change the litter box. And she's like, for who? Like where? And then she comes walking in.
Just petting her on the head. Aww,
I mean, she goes from one shirtless master to the next.
That's right. Yeah. she's got a type.
Right.
Qimir apologist / the handsome menace. Great name. What if Tasi accompanies Master Vernestra to Kofar and finds Yord's body? Ooh, with a shocked face. Well, we know that didn't happen, but still.
Right.
That would have been pretty shocking for her, I'm sure. Again, I don't know how she's going to react. She might feel relief. I don't know how into Yord she was. Plocool811 says, search for a new mentor, guessing she still needs more training. Probably, if they're not taking her on any of these goddamn missions, she didn't get to go this week again.
But that's the weird thing. It's like she went on the first mission with Yord, so she does go on missions.
She went on the first mission to go track down somebody who was
murderer.
thought to be a murderer
Right.
of Jedi.
Right.
But then that's it? I don't get it.
I think she's behind on her homework.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
No extracurricular activities until she gets her grade up in, Jedi tussling.
She's stuck up a tree somewhere.
You're just sticking with this cat theme.
Well, and then finally, Star Wars Boy says, she had put in a request for a new master, something about her old one taking his shirt off to steam his robes in hallways all the time. Oh, yeah. She might have filed something with HR already.
Right.
Those were all your answers. Thank you. You all get entries in our giveaway. Appreciate that. We will move on to the news. Skeleton Crew. So we've had another one of those Star Wars info leaks courtesy of Toys again.
Oh.
This time it's a Lego set that was tweeted out. The tweet has since been removed.
It's always the Lego set.
It's always a Lego set.
Man.
I guess that one time was that whatever that thing was called, I forget the name of it. The thing that had all their faces on it.
Oh, yeah. For the Skeleton Crew?
An Ignot. That's what it was. It was an Ignot. This time it's a Lego. The tweet has since been removed, but it showed that a Skeleton Crew set that had the main ship that's dubbed the Onyx Cinder.
Yeah, I like that name.
And some of the character names as well. So we knew the Ortolan, the Max Rebo-looking character, is called Neil. That was revealed before.
Wait, Neil?
Neil.
Like Neil before Zod?
Yeah, or like Neil from Dark Angels and Pretty Freaks.
Right. Okay,
Same thing.
well, why don't they just call him Sam Smith?
I know, it's a little too common.
Yeah.
It's always got to be like at least one letter off. Like it should have been, Seal. Anyway, so the other three kids
He's an
are...
elephant. His name is Seal.
Seal. The other three kids are... And here we go.
Okay.
Wim, Fern, and KB. So there you go. There's your Star Wars names.
Okay.
Jude Law's character is apparently... And I guess the tweet was kind of... I didn't see the actual tweet before it was deleted. But I guess it was kind of blurry. It was hard to see how that close up. And they said it was either Jod or Jog. I'm going to go with Jod. Probably not Jog. Jod. So they said this was, well, in the original tweet, it said it was supposed to be released August 1st, which is interesting since that's about, 3+ months before the series comes out, which I guess isn't totally unusual. But at the same time, we haven't even had a fucking official trailer for this thing yet.
Right.
So, it maybe gives us hope because,
There's that word.
Podcasts are built on hope that we will get some sort of trailer maybe just after the Acolyte, which we were kind of hoping for. Like tee up and queue up the next series for us. Start the hype machine. Anyway, that was it. That was the only thing we had for news. There was a bunch of other kind of random stuff, but that was kind of the main item I took from this week's fun Star Wars news on Twitter because
Okay.
Twitter wasn't bad this week. I will say that. I didn't feel like it was as bad as it's been. So I think things have cooled down a little bit.
Yeah, you think this episode would have had like just everyone going crazy.
Well,
you get a badass fight, you get like some cool shit, you got a cool reveal, and the internet loses their fucking minds. You get the Sith, he's not, bathing in the fucking waters of Lake Minnetonka, and You know,
It was very much like Apollonia and Purple Rain. Good job. Another 40-year-old reference. Great job. Ding, 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 ding. We should have a fucking drop for that. Old guys. Old guys.
Yeah. Wait.
Oh, shit, man. All right, let's talk Acolyte. Acolyte, like you said, episode 6, teach/corrupt. Who's being taught? Who's being corrupted? Or is it both?
I think it works both ways.
It was quite the back and forth this week between the master, pupil, new relationships. And it certainly is setting up a 7th episode this week that's going to be all about not one, but 2 perspectives. So I got to get my fingers on screen for you.
Yes.
2 perspectives on what happened in Brendok, I would imagine, right? That's where we're headed.
I forgot what the title's called. The next episode's.
Did they have a title released? I saw that the one for
Honesty, something in Honesty, I think it was called. And then the last one is called Doom.
Doom I saw was the last one. I didn't see that the 7 had been released. Honesty makes sense. Okay. Yeah, so we open on Osha doing another one of those startled wake-up moments. We've seen this like at least twice now, I think, in the series. It's that feeling you wake up when you're like, what did I drink last night? And who the fuck did I go home with? It's kind of that feeling.
That's exactly what she's... Yeah, she got roofied big time.
She finds clothes, but it's May's old stuff. The good news is...
It fits.
Fits perfectly. She goes outside to see where she is, and we get this great pan-out shot. I thought this was really cool of her on an island that looks a lot like Octo, but it's actually not Octo. It is some other island that we're going to talk about in a minute. It's named Unknown Planet.
Right.
The speculation is that it's this place called Baldemnik, which did you hear about this? Did you read about this?
I saw some stuff on Twitter about it.
Okay, it's like it's a mostly ocean planet with rocky islands, so it looks a little bit like Octo, but it's home to a shit ton of cortosis, apparently.
Yeah, very, very rich.
Yes. And in Legends, I think this is in the Darth Plagueis book, Tenebrous and Plagueis like mined the mineral on this planet, if this is where they are.
You don't pick that planet with that background knowledge that they're not giving out yet. And I think that's on purpose, right? Of course, people know everything about Star Wars. They're going to figure it out, but like they didn't just hand it to you. And, Leslie Headland's not doing that just because they're not going to introduce one of those characters.
Sorry, I was taking a sip of my Cavassier.
You're fine.
You're right. And I think what she said is when she's been doing these weekly articles with Collider magazine where she kind of talks about the episode that just happened, which is really illuminating. And she said something along the lines of like, consider it that the Republic or whomever hasn't mapped this planet. So it doesn't mean that we haven't heard of it in some other resource, but as far as the Republic goes at this juncture, it has not been mapped, so they don't have a name. If this theory holds true, which it is this planet, what did I call it again? Baldemnik. It's sure pointing in the direction of this whole Tenebrous Plagueis tie-in or reveal. And whether Qimir is one of those people, an apprentice to one of those people, or whatever. We can get into that later, I think, because I think that's probably something that's good for speculation, but they're certainly leaning into that direction.
I mean, doesn't it make sense if he's looking for an acolyte and then the rule of 2, then right now he is not the master?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's looking for he even said, I'm looking for an acolyte because he's looking for somebody to help him overthrow his master.
Yep.
This is the standard procedure of the Sith. This is what happens. Right. You got to find an apprentice before you overthrow. You can't just overthrow. You got to find an apprentice.
No, you got to get your ducks in a row.
Exactly. Get your affairs in order before you attack your master. Meanwhile, back on Kofar, Sol, May in disguise, and Basil take off in their ship. And Sol is trying to get this message off to Vernestra about his team being ambushed. He's clearly shook and everybody dying on this trip. And of course, the transmission's breaking up. And then we get this moment where May's walking through the ship and she kind of starts getting those memories of, her being tested in that ship years, 16 years ago.
Yeah. You're here in Dara.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Basil's,
oh man,
sniffing around everywhere.
Coke problem, man. He's just looking for a baggie left behind.
Maybe she stepped in something on Kofar. That's all it is,
Right. Yeah.
The crazy thing here next is that May sneaks up on Sol while he's in the cockpit with a knife drawn, like she's going to kill him. Like
she's going to shank him.
Which I'm thinking, why didn't you just do it on Kofar when he barely was coming to? You could have done it right then.
Right.
Why now?
I think she's torn.
Okay.
It was something that she's been ordered to do. It's been like what she's been trained to do, right?
Okay.
And then she changes her mind. She wants to be good, I guess, for her sister, and she finds herself with this dude. Like, she, you know, it's a natural feeling that she has to fight the urge to kill.
It's like, God, get that hand down.
Yeah, knock it off.
Well, he senses her coming, and he's, you know, calls her Osha and says, you know, you take the wheel. I gotta go reset the transmitter.
I think he knows.
You think he knows at that point? Because I was going to ask that later. Because certainly
Okay.
we know that he, you know, figures it out later. But I was trying to figure out when I rewatched it, like, does his demeanor change, or is there any like clue as to him knowing it's her? Maybe before he hugs her, does he know at that point? You know,
I think because like the way he grabs her and hugs her, there's what's he say? He says, I'm trying to think of the order of things.
Well, we'll get to that here in a sec, and then we'll kind of figure that out. But yeah, I was racking my brain trying to figure out exactly what the point was where he knew it was her, because I certainly don't think it happened before he was on the ship. Like when he first woke up, I don't think he knew it was not his sister, her sister. So while he's sitting there waiting for his, you know, Comcast router to reboot, he's waiting that 30 seconds. You always got to wait. He has this emotional moment, which is really cool. He's clearly upset, obviously, about what has happened. It's kind of like his first moment to, I think back on who he just lost and all the people he lost as Jedi. And then you just see him almost like harden himself, almost like, okay, like I got to push through. I'm a Jedi. I got to push those emotions to the background so I can like do my job. Is that kind of how you took it?
Yeah, but I'm also, after watching it the second time, it kind of hit me more than most Jedi Masters. He does tend to show more signs of emotions and things that you're not supposed to show at that level.
True.
Like he's got his, Rolodex book of her growing up as a kid. Just like different things he's done when he loses his shit on Zipper Face.
Yep. Qimir.
Yeah, you know, like there's different things we've seen where he's not as cool, calm, and collected as most Jedis are.
No, it's true, and I think that's why a lot of people have been speculating for the last few episodes. Will he eventually turn to the dark side because his emotions play too much of a role in his life? You know, perhaps. I don't know, but I thought the fact that he's like slamming the table and he's all fucked up, and then it was this really cool shot, really well acted of him just kind of like slowly, like focusing in and being like, okay, I got to move past this or whatever he's thinking. But then, so we go back to Osha, who's following Qimir as he walks over to this little lagoon, strips naked, as you said, and gets in the water, take a little morning bath. Now she has her knife drawn, like she's going to kill him, but then she sees that he has left his saber with his clothes. So she picks that up, and of course he's sensing all this happening the whole way.
Well, did you sense like a bunch of religious overtones with this scene?
What do you mean by that?
Him bathing.
Okay. Like cleansing himself and
yes, and then I mean he takes off dark clothes, bathes himself, and puts on light clothes. Yeah. Is
it some sort of transformation? Is that what you're suggesting, or do you just think it's his mode?
I think more thematically. Well, I guess that would be, but like I don't see. Well, for starters, I think we're supposed to see this whole episode. I think is to point out the fact that they've been like, you know, kind of messaging the fact that it's. We're led to believe that the Jedi is always the right way.
Right.
And he's fighting just to protect his way of life, which isn't a bad thing.
Correct. So yes, I mean, this whole season has been about this. And I saw a headline talking about this saying like, I think a lot of people might be who haven't read the High Republic books, which we have not.
Right.
Thinking, oh, like we're just trying to make the Jedi look bad with this series. But a lot of that stuff is happening in the High Republic series. Like they're showing all the cracks in the armor. And so I think this is just kind of an extension of that. But you're right. You're getting the perspective of somebody who is seeing it from the other side of things and why he's acting the way he's acting. And really it's about, well, at least the way he's positioning it is, it's his ability to live. It's his ability to exist. That's what he's claiming is his drive. I don't know about the whole transfer. I mean, it's certainly, I think in her eyes anyway, he's going from this fucking ruthless killer to this softer person who's just like, hey, I'm just throwing stuff out there. You just think about it. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's definitely seducing her, right?
Oh, yes, he is.
And not even like seducing her like this is 50 Shades of Jedi. Like, you know, he's seducing her to the dark side with what he does. But the one thing he doesn't bring up in this whole thing, which I guess makes sense if he wasn't there, is the fact of she comes from that coven, who also lived a different way from the Jedi.
Absolutely. That's something that's going to resonate with her.
Yeah.
As far as their ability to practice their own craft without being the Jedi, telling them they can't do it. And that's her mom felt that way. So, so he knows that's going to work for her. There's a lot going on here. So where'd I leave off? Oh, so he's in the water and he senses that she's there. And so as she grabs the saber and picks it up, he says, it must feel good to grab my saber. No, it must. He says, does it feel good? What does he say? Does it feel good to hold it again or something like that? Yeah. Hold a saber again. Not necessarily.
Have you ever held a black one before?
The sexual tension is really starting to ratchet up because first he says, if you're not going to join me, I'd like to put my clothes back on. Oh, saucy. Then he gets out fully nude.
Did you notice that she straight up does like an eye drop?
Eyes up here, Osha. Come on.
Yeah, she checks out the gear.
She's looking at it for sure.
Uh-huh.
And let's be real. That water was cold. So he's still supremely confident, even if he's in a shriveled state.
Right. He's like, you may have a lightsaber, but I have this.
This is my skin saber.
Yeah.
But this is like just kind of like you talked about. This is like kind of the start of this long game he's running where he's showing himself as vulnerable. This is something he never did with May. He didn't show May anything. Here, straight away, he's like, not only am I showing you myself without a helmet, I'm showing my entire fucking body to you. Yeah. And I'm putting you in a position where you could kill me if you want to. He's playing that one. Like, I trust that you're not going to do this. And so, it certainly puts him in a position of power over her, I think. She asks him, hey, did you kill Saul? Soul. God, I always call him Saul. Soul. And he says, no. You can see the relief in her shoulder. She's like, oh, thank God. And then she asks if he killed May, and he says no again. But then he notes how that's interesting you asked about him first, not your sister. And, the grooming is just going to continue as he's like, that's a special relationship, master and pupil. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, and he also, this kind of where he's like, why do you care about all these people that can't care about you the way you need to be cared about?
The line was, he says it later. The line is something like, why do you care about people who can't go as deep as you can?
Right.
It's all that like fucking... like abusive relationship playbook. It's like alienation from your family and friends. They don't understand you. They don't let you be who you want to be.
No one's going to love you like I do. Right.
It's that whole thing.
Cut to 2 years later, and he's smoking a cigarette on the couch in their apartment.
Right. How did I get here?
Yeah. She's in a dog cage in the closet.
Oh, God damn. Back to Kofar, where May has readied the ship for departure just outside, in the orbit of Kofar. Soul gives Osha that hug. And this is where you're saying you think maybe he knows at that point. Because I have actually put a note down. Does he know it's May at this point?
Well, it seems like he's testing her because he gives her the hug. He sends her away to go work on the thing, knowing that that's what she does.
Yep.
She kind of, it takes a minute for her to realize, oh yeah, this is, my sister does this. I have to do this. So it seems like he's testing to see if it's her or not.
I think you're right, especially because later on he does that whole thing about, oh, you found Pip. The way you take care of that droid, blah, blah, blah. Like he's calling out all the stuff he noticed with Osha before. If he doesn't know it's May yet, he certainly senses something's off. Mm-hmm. He apologizes, says it's time to make things right. It's time to face the High Council and tell them everything.
Right.
Because that guilt is weighing on him. And just then the Coruscant transmission comes through, and it's that nerd Jedi. I guess his name's Mog.
Mog, yeah.
Nerd. As Soul goes to answer, the power goes out. Power in the ship goes out. And so that's when you said, Soul asks her to go take a look, because she's a tech neck, after all. Isn't that what they call it? Tech neck? Mech neck? Mech neck.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Called. Yep. Is the power going out just is that Basil? Is that something else? Is that just an accident?
Yeah, I don't know.
I was trying to think about that when it happened. So on Coruscant now, Vernestra is getting word that some senator is pushing for an external review of the Jedi Order. Boy, she's got the weight of the universe on her shoulders.
Right.
She's real nervous.
Who's this senator?
So, they said the name, and I can't remember it now. Shit. I don't know. But it's like there's some senator that's apparently no friend of the Jedi and is very, very suspicious of the Order itself. Mm-hmm. And then, but I think the person she's talking to is a little bit more open to her and kind of brushing it off. Like, don't worry about an external review. It's just almost like it's for optics. We'll do the external review, but don't worry about it.
Yeah.
She's pretty worried about it.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, but she seems to like to handle things, to keep things between the High Council and the you know, like, because wasn't it the last episode, a couple episodes ago, she says, you know, we have to keep this between us. If we tell the High Council, then they have to tell the Senate, and then, you know, so we're gonna,
right?
You know, so we're already seeing, you know, where certain Jedis think they need to hide the secrets.
That's right. You're right. Not only is she hiding stuff from the Senate, she's hiding it from the High Council. And in that comment, it was if the High Council knows, the Senate will eventually know.
Right.
But she's trying to keep shit under wraps because she knows something's about to come out. So then Mog informs her that they got a distress call from Sol, and it sounded like he lost his whole team, but it was, you know, shaky. And that's what she says, okay, like, prepare rescue party to go to Kofar. What?
It just fucking hit me. His name is Mog. He's a Mog. He's half man, half dog. He's his own best friend.
I didn't think about it that way. Just to skip forward a little bit, she checks in later with Mog to make sure everything's kind of ready to go. And he's like, oh, like, you're coming with us. And then he reminds her that she gets nauseous when she travels through hyperspace. And she goes, I don't get sick. I find it unsettling.
I had to do a little research on this. So I guess part of her force powers is she gets visions when she goes through hyperspace. Mm-hmm. Like when she was a kid, throughout some of the books, I guess. That's one of the things that happens. To fast forward a minute, there's a line that she says. What does she say? She says,
when they're on Kofar?
Yes, when they're on Kofar, and she says something almost like she's repeating something that was said to her before.
No, she said it before. Something to tip the scales? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, she says that in the second or third episode or whatever when she's talking to Sol.
Okay.
She says something's
so she was just like, I was right.
She's staying on brand.
Right.
Something to tip the scales.
Yeah.
T-shirts, I'm telling you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Back to Qimir and Osha, and the conversation is really getting interesting because this is when he reveals that he was a Jedi a long time ago, because she's like, I've never heard of you. And I mean, obviously you're thinking at this point, and maybe you have a master that is bald with a whip. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when he disrobes and you see the lash marks.
Right. Look, it starts to be pretty obvious. She tells him, you know, I think you're using me for leverage, essentially, which is a pretty good guess. But she says she thinks that Sol will find her because he's strong in the Force. And that's when he says, that's your strength in the Force, which is why he would find you, essentially. Trying to build her up, you know, again, like saying, don't doubt yourself here. You have this strength that everybody's been telling you lost, that
I
faded.
see the awesome in you. No one else does.
Nobody else does, just me. I'm the one. All your friends,
they talk shit about you.
Yeah, exactly.
But I see the good in you.
I wouldn't go out with Mary tonight. You should stay with me because I'm the one who believes in you.
Come over instead of my cortisol ass.
So, he just continues to play this real patient game. He's kind of doing that, hey, you know, the ship's right over there if you want to leave, or you can stay and eat, whatever. I don't care, you know?
Yeah, but the option is you need to start swimming now before, if you want to get there before sundown. I
do like that it's like, it's kind of let that be a lesson to you out there. Play it cool.
Yeah.
Then they'll want you more. So when she asks him to elaborate on her strength in the Force, he tells her that the Jedi have their way of accessing the Force that they claim is the only way. And if you don't exercise it, it fades. However, there is another way you can tap into that. And this is when he starts talking about really embracing the emotions that are under the surface. Right. And that is fear and anger, which we've heard before. Desire, which I'm surprised he didn't do like a eyebrow raise at the desire thing. Get
looks
it?
Down to us. Huh?
Remember when you saw my saber?
Remember you saw that? Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've already tempted you with desire.
And then I like how she says, hey, those are things that are a pathway to the dark side. And he's like, semantics. I like that line. Right. I thought that was pretty funny. But it's interesting because essentially, you know, he's saying like, you know, potato. I don't see it as the dark side. I see it as just a different way. And frankly, the easier way, because you don't have to follow these silly rules in practicing this, you know, these force powers. So that's that perspective that they keep raising up.
Look at this bachelor pad the dark side has given me.
Right. It's pretty sweet. It's a little bit bare. There's not a lot in there. I don't know. I mean, I didn't get the vibe that it's like a cool place to hang out in, but you know, it's his own thing. It's like the basement at the house, you know, a little dank.
It seems like, there's that arm that looks like it's, you know, at one point was functional. I wonder if that's like the mining stuff that was used at one point.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Just kind of left over.
So, and again, this is what you were talking about before. This is all stuff she would have heard from her mother. So this is all going to be something that feels comfortable. She yells at him for killing all the Jedi, and he claims, hey, anybody's going to try to deny me my existence, I might kill him. It's it's like what's the rule? Stand your ground rule. That's the law that he applies.
Okay.
And that's when he says that line. Why do you love people who can't go as deep as you can? That's what he said. And then he does the whole go ahead, kill me. Puts the saber right to his chest.
Right.
And then she says the Jedi don't attack the unarmed, and he questions why she thinks she's a Jedi. And again, this is just playing into the manipulation. And when he asks why she's not a Jedi, she says it's because she failed and draws the saber on him. By the way, and I've not heard anybody else reference this or seen anybody write about this, it sounded like when she draws the saber, or at least somewhere in that sequence, it almost sounded like an Ahsoka theme mixed in there. But I think I must have heard that wrong because I think somebody else would have said it. Go back and listen to it if you get a chance. There's some music that's mixed in there, and I couldn't place it, and it sounded almost Ahsoka-esque.
Okay.
Any of our listeners, let me know if you heard that too. I don't know what it was. It's probably the wrong theme. I probably got it wrong, but He says, hey, I understand you. I lost everything too, and when you lose everything, that's when you are free.
Right.
He's trying to direct her to say, you don't have to hold your emotions anymore. The Jedi told you have to do this. You don't. Let those emotions out. It's almost like a therapy session, I guess, if you want to look at it on the positive side. He's saying, don't keep all that stuff bottled up, let it out.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be manipulated by your therapist.
That's what the thing is. It's all going to work out to his benefit.
Right.
And he's doing it in a very seductive way. But I mean, that is kind of the message I think he's saying is don't feel like you have to, stamp down these emotions in yourself because it's only going to make things worse. So back to, or near Kofar, I should say. While all this is going on, that sneaky little Basil has been snooping around the ship, trying to figure out what the hell the top half of Pip fits into.
Right.
He's lining up a shit.
I need a charger.
I like when he finds the connection too. I don't know what that expression was, but the second that Pip fires up and looks at him, he gives this weird open mouth look. I'm like, what the fuck was that acknowledgement? You got it. It just cracked me up when it happened. May is looking around trying to figure out how to restart the ship's power, and he confronts her and just goes up and just starts almost gnawing on her leg to fight her.
Yeah, I don't know if he's trying to bite her. Well, first he comes in like he just got done watching, an episode of Power Rangers and downed his 6-pack of pudding. He's fucking just, he's all hyper.
Yeah. Crazy kung fu moves that don't work. Yeah. Then he goes over and just grabs her leg and starts fucking with her. And then he just pisses off. He's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Right.
But Pip is clearly in on the gig because Pip fires hot oil right into her face.
Yeah. She screams.
And so she resets Pip to factory settings. That's a pretty easy, quick little...
Right.
Just hold the two buttons down. That's just a power
just
off
like
thing.
on an iPhone, man. Yeah.
I mean, come on. I like how the eyes go red too.
Same as when they did the reset on C-3PO.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. She starts looking around for a body for Pip, and she finds one and, essentially is using Pip now. Tell me about the power system, because she's trying to fake until she makes it here. When she goes to inform Sol that the ship will restart shortly, he is, lamenting about what happened on Kofar. How did I not sense Qimir when we were on Olega?
Do you think was he saying this to her as another test because he's sensing that she is not Osha?
I think he truly feels that way, and I think it is part of another test to see how she reacts. No, I agree. I think in retrospect, like you said, I think all along the way he's asking questions and looking for a reaction out of her to figure out who she is. Because
it's sort of a reverse way, he's manipulating her in a sense.
Oh yeah, the corruption works both ways here, like you said. So it's not Sol is not just an innocent person here. He's doing what he's doing. And now, granted, you could say, well, it's for the greater good or whatever you want to say, but he is manipulating her, trying to figure out who the hell she is. It's entrapment, Jay. No. She says, well, sometimes you see what you want to see. So when she starts to press him hey, so tell me what really happened on Brendock, the power magically comes back on. And she marches off to the cockpit to resume the communications and presumably to move this whole confession thing along, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was she going to say?
I'm not sure who she was going to say she was, because she said this is, and then it cut off.
Yeah.
Because Sol shoots her with the stunner from behind. I don't know if she was going to say she was May or say she was Osha, but I think she was wanting to move this confession thing along. Like, she's like, let's keep moving because
this is another thread that proves so far nobody know. Well, they know that some Jedis were slayed, but they don't know by who or by what, and the information isn't really getting out there.
Correct, which is all that secret is awfully hidden. It remains hidden because this is somebody else. This is not the people coming in the ship. This is somebody else on Coruscant, so they would have been given similar information. You're right. So yeah, he stuns her. Sol hears Coruscant inform him that the rescue team is en route, so he shuts off the transponder and makes a quick jump to hyperspace. To where? Is he going to Brendok? Where the hell's he going? Or anywhere? Just getting the fuck out?
Maybe he takes her back, to like, we'll do like a visual walkthrough.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is if in that 7th episode, is it going to be him walking around where everything went down and kind of recounting the story, whereas the Qimir will be telling the story from whatever that place is called again. I forgot it already. The Cortosis planet.
Yeah.
Either way, he wanted to get out of there because he's not ready to deal with them yet. So right when he leaves, Vernestra and crew fly in. It's the classic zoom, zoom,
Yeah. 2 ships missing each other. What's that saying?
2 ships missing each other in the night. What is that? Yeah, something like that.
Something.
We're not good.
I'm so brain dead right now. I'm giving you everything I got, and it's about fucking 30%.
You're doing great. This is your Jordan flu game, and I appreciate it. So they Vernestra and crew make their way down to the planet where they are investigating the crime scene. Only 4 total Jedi. You do realize 8 were just murdered, right?
Oh, we saw more than that.
What do you mean?
Like on the ground?
There's only 4 of them.
It's her. Sure I saw more than that.
It's her, Mog, and those other 2. That's it. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they brought.
By
the
way,
numbers.
did not expect to see dead Jedi eyes.
That was a little disturbing.
Yeah.
Both of them, Yord and Jeki, both did, and with the eyes open. It's because nobody came by and did the little, close the eyelids thing.
Right.
Speaking of, by the way, later on, Vernestra says something about like, hey, let's get back to the ship and let's prepare the bodies for burial. I meant to mention this last week. Sol just fucks off. What happened to like nobody gets left behind? Like these bodies need to be, what's it called? Cremated.
Well, he's probably like, you know what? We'll make a call. Someone else takes care of this.
Send the Jedi EMTs. They'll deal with it later. We're get the fuck out of here.
We need the Coruscant coroner's office. Stat.
Well, it's like those people in The Mandalorian, right? The toe tag place.
Yes.
So yeah, we see Jeki and Yord. That was like I said, very disturbing. And it seems like Vernestra, it's like this little, I'm not sure if it was a Force echo. That is something that you see in the Jedi Order games. He can sense things by touching them or being around them. And
wasn't Ahsoka doing the same thing?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
Like she could sort of hear things. Yeah, it was the echo. So I was getting the same impression that she was kind of, it wasn't like we were hearing it. I think she was as well.
Well, no. I definitely think she was hearing it. I was just thinking, is that kind of this Force echo thing where they can sense something that happened there just because of their power with the Force? So Mog does some good sleuthing here because he's piecing together that, there was a fight. There was one person killing all these Jedi. And when she asked how this could happen, because they were all killed by a lightsaber, he's like, was it a fallen Jedi? And if Vernestra had any hair, it would have stood up on the back of her neck when he said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He asks her if that means it was Sol, because who else could be powerful enough to do it? And she's like, well, that's a huge accusation, sir.
Right.
You mind
yourself. But she didn't shut it down either.
Nope, she didn't.
Because that would mean she has to admit that she knows of the other one.
Or is she going, this is going to be the way I fucking set him up as the fall guy?
Oh, sure.
But you called it out first, not me. I walked you into that.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Mog. Good boy. Good boy. Back to Qimir. He's working on his helmet, and Osha asks him about her sister, and he says that she only wanted revenge, but what he wants is the power of 2. Now, are you assuming this is the rule of 2, or are you assuming, my fingers never make on screen, assuming this is the rule of 2, or is this more Force dyad, or some combination of the 2? What were you taking?
I don't know, because it really seems like there's like dual meanings to everything in this episode.
Right.
Because if he's saying he wants the power of 2, it could either work like he wants both of them, right? The sisters.
Yep.
Or does he want master and acolyte? Like it's master and apprentice.
I think it's the latter. It's the latter because he's already talked about how much he wants a pupil. I just didn't know if it was more like a sort of a dyad thing or a rule of two. To me, it seems like the rule of two is what's in play here. That would be the most logical.
But he doesn't seem to follow the rules of the Jedi, so why follow the rules of the dark side? Like, there's a part of me that thinks he's kind of his own camp. Wasn't he sort of just like his own thing? He wasn't like a Sith or anything.
This is where we should pause and go look up on Wikipedia what what the thing was with Ren, because I always only know little bits and they kind of come in and out of my mind. I can't remember how. I think they were kind of one-offs. They weren't necessarily aligned with anybody. They were their own people, the Ren. And so you're right. That could be that he's like, I'm playing by my own rules. Fuck fuck the dark and light side rules. She asked him about the lash scars, like you mentioned, on his back, and he insinuates it was done to him by someone who threw him away. So you would assume his old master. Now, is that a Jedi master or a Sith master? You would assume it's Jedi master. He explains then that the helmet is made of cortosis, which is handy against lightsabers, but also acts as a sensory deprivation headpiece, which is why he didn't want to take it off when Sol was, asking to see him, because he didn't want him to get in his head.
Right.
Did you notice, by the way, the cortosis on the walls? I guess you did, because you saw that arm that was there. You actually see the mineral itself.
Yes. Yeah. Also, this means because other than those tiny little slits, he was basically blind when he murdered everybody.
Yes, he was doing it all based on force power.
Right.
Because you lock everything out.
Strong. Yeah, man. Whew.
All that you have in there is you, the force, and whatever you bring with you, which is a very familiar line.
He's like Daredevil and the Kingpin combined.
Well, it's one of those things probably where it's like he could see the Matrix, he could see everything in advance, and everything was slowed down. It's like when you're a professional athlete or an athlete or whatever, and the game slows down for you. That's what it was like for him. He could just see it all coming.
Right.
He suggests, hey, you should try it on.
She's like, I don't trust you.
You should totally put that helmet on.
Right.
She is curious as a cat, though, because she is like, I got to put that helmet on. So he leaves. She puts the thing on, and you get this incredibly cool shot from her perspective of the helmet and her breathing it, very much like Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, it sounded weird when I said it, with Vader.
Vader at the end, yeah.
And I like how it transitions from her breathing inside the helmet and being like to the outside, and you hear it sounding more like a Sith helmet.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then finally, I guess just to wrap up the episode, on Sol's ship, May comes to, realizes she's been cuffed to the bed. He's just sitting over there. He tells her they need to find her master and save Osha, because he's revealing that he knows who she is now. But first, they're going to have a little chat. And he's like, I've been thinking about this for 16 years, what I would say to you if I had the chance. And I'm going to talk, and you're going to listen.
Right. But also, this is him admitting that he knew she survived.
Correct. Good point.
Yeah. Because he told the council, because even Vernestra, he was like, I saw her fall. Right.
So he has not told anybody. There is a lot he's been hiding and keeping his little. There's a lot of skeletons in that soul closet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the end of the episode. Yeah. Where do you want to start in speculation? I mean, there's a lot of things to discuss here. You could start with Osha, I guess, and just say, is her putting on the helmet going to make her realize, get back in touch with her force capabilities? And is that going to mean she's tapping into the dark side and all these things are going to start coming out of her? Because she obviously has this anger and this loss and all these things that lead you to the dark side.
Yeah.
So is this all just going to kick that into fucking high gear?
Well, I think it's there's going to be an awakening.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, and then you would assume she's going to have this conversation where Qimir is going to tell her what happened on Brendok, because I'm pretty sure he was fucking there. And what is she going to do with that? Is it just going to make her more and more push to the dark side? And is she on a collision course with becoming the true acolyte?
I'm still trying to figure out. I think his true intentions is turning both of them into his acolytes.
He wants both? You don't think he was just kind of using May?
They're two into one. Whatever that damn chant is they have.
Yeah.
I think whatever he's learned, he knows. And he's like, why have one acolyte if I can have two?
Right, because if you're saying he doesn't like the rules,
mm-hmm.
So the rule of two is a little different from his perspective.
Right.
I just thought it seems like he was kind of using May to get to Osha all along.
But what does he know about Osha that nobody else does?
Well, I think what he found in May was, two things. He saw her desire to go join the Jedi, and her, he would know the trauma she was dealing with from losing her entire family and being pushed into this other place. So I think he probably sees somebody who's like him, somebody who was a Jedi.
Okay.
And then he knows perhaps somehow he knows the history of how she was out of the Jedi Order. And so he's like, this is a prime target for me, because they've gone through the same thing that I went through, roughly.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
Yeah. And then Qimir. So yeah, we're assuming he's Vernestra's old Padawan, right?
Yeah, and I'm assuming that those marks on his back is from her whip, but I'm not sold that it was completely on purpose.
What do you mean by not completely on purpose?
There was a fight, a tussle. Maybe someone else was involved. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, you would think, depending on what he was wearing at the time, if you hit somebody with that lightsaber whip, it should have just gone through him.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
true.
it's not like a regular whip.
Yeah.
I don't know. That made me kind of question that a little bit, but it's certainly they're certainly leading you in that direction.
She had her whip set to stun. It was like a frat boy with a fucking wet towel just waiting outside the shower for you.
Ow! Yep, that's gonna be the mark. Do you think he's the original Ren, or do you think he's a Sith? I mean, that's the thing is, there's a lot going on here. We had the Kylo theme when he, earlier, which Headland said something along the lines of like that was on purpose, but I can't tell you why yet. But you don't know if that means necessarily that he's the original Ren, or is it just something to do with Kylo himself and him, kind of eventually becoming some sort of Sith? Headland literally said, I saw this quote from her where she said, talking about Qimir, and she said his character design was a long process. I mean, it was for everybody, but specifically for his character to create a new Sith. Sith had been done so well. She literally called him a Sith.
Right. I saw that remark.
Is that just deflection and, and smoke and mirrors or what? I don't know if she's trying to
leading
throw
the witness.
It is leading the witness. And I don't know, because I can't decide if I really feel like the Ren theory is true or not. Because if he's not, and you're going to go the way of the Sith, then is he Darth Plagueis? Is he an apprentice of Darth Plagueis? Is it something to do with Tenebrous? And where this all leads me to is, where the fuck is it David Harewood? Where the fuck is he? He hasn't shown up yet.
I was going to bring him up. Yeah.
So is he going to be Tenebrous?
Is he the actor that played Martian Manhunter?
Yeah, I think so. I've not seen him and stuff, but we talked about it when we saw the casting thing, and it noted him being in it. We haven't seen him yet, so that's why I'm like, is he Tenebrous? Is he Plagueis? I don't feel like Qimir is one of those two. I feel you could certainly set it up that way. You could certainly show and say Harewood was Tenebrous. Qimir killed him as Plagueis because all that shit was supposed to happen on that planet.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that's why I'm saying that planet's being used for a reason. It's got to lead in those characters, and I don't think he's just set up shop there and they don't know he's there, right?
Right.
If those characters do exist, or wouldn't one of them already be dead?
So the timeline can be adjusted, as you know.
Well, true.
And so what my thought is if you go that route, if you lean all the way into that story, then maybe Harewood is Tenebrous, Qimir is Plagueis, and Plagueis is looking for his apprentice to help him overthrow Tenebrous. That's a possibility. I've not read the Darth Plagueis book, so I don't know if that kind of jives with that story or not. But I mean, I could see it being anywhere from he is Plagueis to he's just an apprentice to he's the Ren. I can't put my fucking finger on it, which I guess is the sign of a good story because you don't know exactly what the hell's going on.
Exactly. I agree.
If you had to pick, you think he's Plagueis, you think he's an apprentice, you think he's the Ren guy? If you had to pick, where do you think it's going?
I think he's an apprentice to Plagueis, and I think he's going to turn into the Ren guy.
Okay, I think the first part I agree with for sure. I think that's where I'm leaning, is he's an apprentice of Plagueis. I guess, yeah, turning into the Ren is interesting.
Because then he doesn't have to kill Plagueis, because Plagueis is killed by Palps, right?
By Palps.
Yeah.
So if he is no longer his apprentice, then he goes and finds Palps, because he finds Palps on Naboo, because it's like he goes there for something. I can't remember why he finds him there.
Right.
What about Vernestra? Because a lot of people were theorizing, maybe she's. What was your thing you threw out the DM? What if Sol is the apprentice and Vernestra is the Sith Lord? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
A lot of people though have been speculating about if she got some sort of dark side thing in her. I don't think that's it. I think she's just covering her tracks because bad shit went down with her Padawan, aka Qimir, and she realizes he's the rogue Jedi that's out there. Mm-hmm. And she's like, fuck, I gotta get this thing sorted because it's gonna all come back to haunt me.
Which is I imagine a different story.
What do you mean?
For her. It all ties in together, but I don't think whatever happened because Vernestra wasn't there on.
No, I think that's all prior to that.
Right.
He's gone rogue and done whatever, been cast away or whatever prior to Brendok. That's just, she realized when that happened that, oh shit, there's, he's still around. Mm-hmm. Do you think Sol will be? Do you think she's eventually gonna Sol's gonna die, right? Is Osha gonna kill him?
That, or he's going to be the scapegoat. He's going to be put in prison.
I think it could be both.
He's going to take the fall for it, yeah.
I think he's going to get killed. I mean, I'm leaning toward Osha doing it because Qimir's going to like lead her down that path to be like, Osha or Soul fucked over your whole family and he's the reason they're all dead. She's going to kill him. She'll probably feel a little remorse after she does it, maybe.
Yeah, but it'll be too early to do it this season, right? Because that'll be like the whole like Kylo Ren killing Han Solo.
Well, I mean, the thing is this. Headland talked about this being a self-contained story for season 1 with the options for season 2 being out there.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like you can have Soul come home. I think he's got to die.
Yeah.
And then if that's the case, then I think you're right. I think what's going to happen is Vernestra, whether she likes it or not, is going to say, okay, and we're going to pin it all on Soul.
Because then right. And then she killed him or something she'll say, or like it's all tied up with a bow.
Mm-hmm.
She'll come home and she's the only one that knows.
Yeah, and she's like, Mog, don't you fucking say a word. Or
right. Mog's dead.
Wrap this whip around your neck in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Right. and then she's gonna go home and she's gonna get the kitty as her new apprentice, and she's already got the leash.
I like that theory.
Yep.
Finally, Tasi gets her revenge. Like the last thing I was gonna ask is just about May. You know, is she gonna be swayed by what Soul says? Is she gonna kind of the transition fully to, okay, you know what you guys did was right, or I understand why you did what you did, and you're not the bad guys, or is she going to be like bullshit?
I think that she's going to have a different point of view, but I don't know if she'll like transition fully because like she knows things, so she can't go back to become a Jedi.
Yeah, I wouldn't think she would go back to becoming a Jedi. I'm just wondering, would she feel empathy and all that toward the cause of what the Jedi did? Like, will she understand in some way, okay, I get why you did what you did, or is she going to be like,
maybe enough so that way she has a reason to go save her sister.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else? That was kind of all I was thinking about as far as speculation goes.
No,
There's a lot coming. I mean, these last 2 episodes are going to be pretty fucking great.
And they're both 43, 47 minutes long.
Where'd you hear that? Where are you getting all this information?
Sorry, I didn't send it to you. Yeah, I think they're both 47 minutes or something.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people complain about the episode length, and I'm on board with it, man. It's been kind of short because you got a lot of stuff going on. As much as you're getting in the weeds with certain things, certain moments feel a bit rushed. Like, take your time. This episode could be 45 minutes long every time.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would do that. All right, that's it. So all we have is the Maul Bag left. Email number 1 and only email from Max Rebo Experience. I hope you had a satisfactory Independence Day. Thank you. I did.
We did. Thank you.
Acolyte episode 6 was really slow, although it was mildly interesting. And Elephant Porgs. I like that. I got definite Twilight vibes from the Osha scenes and Hannah Montana vibes from Maze. Okay, I don't know
God.
either of these shows it well enough to understand that, but I'll go with it. Do you agree with those statements?
No.
Okay. The general consensus is the next episode will be a flashback of differing viewpoints and then the big finale where everyone dies. I think some more people will die for sure. I'm not sure. Do you think Qimir is going to die at the end of this episode, at the end of this season?
Fuck no.
I don't think so either. I don't think you'd want to kill him this early.
No.
I mean, sometimes they do that shit.
He's got some training to do.
That's true. I'm still not sure who the big bad will turn out to be. Soul turning off the transponder and jumping to light speed was a bit suspicious, but I don't think he's a hidden Sith. Agreed. I like the idea of Vernestra Rowe being the hidden Sith, but I don't think they have the guts for it. Mother Coral's absence in the pile of bodies has to mean something, so I'm assuming it's her. Until next time. We haven't really talked about Mother Coral lately and how that all is going to shake out.
Right.
But she's got to show up somewhere, right? Maybe they find her when they go back to Brendok with Soul.
She's still living there.
She comes rushing out of the fucking woods and is like, you motherfucker!
I've been surviving on bugs for 10 years.
You murdered my wife!
Yeah.
Great email. Thank you very much, Max.
Thank you,
and
Max.
that is it.
That's it for the show. We will be back next week with a double title, 1 episode.
Honesty and whatever. Lies.
The opposite.
Yeah.
Dishonesty.
Dishonesty.
Thanks for listening. Until next time.
Laugh it up, fuzzballs.
We have spoken.